Moses and the Red Sea, Exodus 14 verses 5 to 29. For centuries, the Israelites lived as slaves in Egypt, enduring cruelty under Pharaoh's rule. Fearing their growing numbers, Pharaoh ordered the death of all male Hebrew infants. But one infant, Moses, was saved and raised in Pharaoh's palace. Years later, discovering his heritage, Moses fled Egypt after witnessing his people's suffering. As Moses was tending to his sheep near the rugged, rocky terrain of Mount Horeb, a bush suddenly ignites without burning, and the Lord appeared to him and said,
"Moses, I have seen the suffering of my people. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring the Israelites out of Egypt."
And Moses replied,
"Lord, who am I to lead them?"
But the Lord said to Moses,
"I will be with you."
So Moses and Aaron, his brother, set off to the palace to talk to Pharaoh. Arriving at the palace and receiving an audience with Pharaoh, Moses said to Pharaoh,
"Let my people go so they may worship the Lord."
And Pharaoh angrily replied,
"Who is this Lord? I do not know him, and I will not let Israel go."
At this, Moses turned to Aaron, who lifted his staff. It was time to demonstrate the power of the God of Israel. Aaron struck the Nile with his staff, and instantly the river turned red. The once clear waters flowed crimson, and fish floated lifeless to the surface, and the Egyptians wailed in despair as they found no drinkable water. Yet Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, unmoved by the suffering of his people. God sent the second plague. Frogs swarmed from the Nile, invading homes, kitchens, and even Pharaoh's chambers. The croaking was deafening. Desperate, Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron, pleading,
"Pray to your God to take these away, and I will let your people go."
But when the frogs vanished, Pharaoh broke his promise. Aaron struck the dust of the earth, and it became a swarm of gnats that tormented man and beast alike. Even the magicians of Egypt admitted, "This is the finger of God." Still, Pharaoh would not yield. The skies darkened as dense swarms of flies descended, covering every inch of Egyptian land. Remarkably, the land of Goshen, where the Israelites dwelled, was spared. Pharaoh summoned Moses again, offering half-hearted concessions, but his heart grew harder with each passing day. A severe pestilence struck the Egyptian livestock. Cattle, horses, and sheep collapsed in the fields, leaving the Egyptians bereft of their wealth and sustenance. Yet, not a single Israelite animal was harmed. Still, Pharaoh refused to let the Israelites go. Moses and Aaron tossed soot into the air before Pharaoh. It spread throughout Egypt, causing painful boils to erupt on the skin of the Egyptians and their animals. But Pharaoh remained defiant. Moses raised his staff to the heavens, and a ferocious storm of hail rained down, shattering trees and destroying crops. Thunder roared, and fire streaked across the sky. Once again, Pharaoh pleaded for mercy, only to harden his heart as soon as the storm ceased. The next morning, an eastern wind carried swarms of locusts into Egypt. They devoured every green plant, leaving the land barren. Pharaoh's advisors urged him to relent, saying, "Egypt is ruined." Yet Pharaoh's pride was stronger than his fear. For 3 days, a thick, oppressive darkness enveloped Egypt. It was a darkness so profound that people could not see one another or leave their homes. But in the land of Goshen, the Israelites enjoyed light. Still, Pharaoh's heart remained unyielding. Finally, God told Moses,
"One more plague I will bring upon Pharaoh and Egypt. Afterward, he will let you go."
At night, the angel of death passed through Egypt, claiming the lives of the firstborn in every Egyptian household, from Pharaoh's son to the lowliest servant. But the Israelites, who had marked their doorposts with lamb's blood as God commanded, were spared. The cries of mourning rose like a great wail across the land. Pharaoh summoned Moses in the dead of night. His voice, once filled with arrogance, was now trembling with grief. He said,
"Go, take your people, your flocks, and your herds, and leave. Bless me also."
With haste, the Israelites prepared to depart, carrying unleavened bread and their belongings. Over 600,000 Israelites began their journey to freedom, guided by a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. But Pharaoh's heart hardened again, and he pursued them with his army. When the Israelites saw Pharaoh's army coming towards them from behind and the towering waves of the Red Sea in front of them, an Israelite asked Moses,
"Why did you bring us here to die?"
To which Moses replied,
"Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the Lord's deliverance today."
Moses raised his staff, and God parted the waters, creating a path for his people. The Israelites celebrated their freedom, their trust in God renewed by his mighty power. The story of the Red Sea reminds us of God's faithfulness and power to deliver. Even in the face of impossible odds, he makes a way. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.